Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on our little YouTube channel. I'm, of course, your host, John Campea, and this is the show where we talk about the things that we love, movies and movie news, TV and streaming, those things that give us joy. And I'm joined in studio today by our technical producer, Jonathan Voiko.
Hello, everybody. I always say good morning, but we're actually afternoon. So
we moved the time of the show time. That's right. Writer, director, producer, Robert Meyer Burnett.
Well, hello.
And most importantly, of course, you guys are here. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. And here's how our show's going to go. We're going to start off by talking about a few predetermined topics we got lined up for you guys. And then in the second part of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. If you have a thought, theory, opinion, or question you'd like us to address on the show, go ahead and fire it on into our super chats in the live chat feature. That means you got to be watching live, but I'm going to let you guys know. We also need to get caught up on some super chats we didn't get around to answering yesterday. So I'm only going to leave the super chats open for a few minutes here today, and then I'm going to turn them off, and then we'll just answer all the ones that came in, the ones that we deem appropriate to be addressed on the show a little bit later on in the show. A little bit of a programming note. There is going to be a show tomorrow, and there is going to be a show Friday, but I'm going to be on the road. I'm going to be doing it from the van because I love the fact that I'm married to a woman that said to me, you know what we should do, John? I said, what's that, baby? She goes, now that the playoffs are all shaped up, well, we should drive to Denver and go watch the Buffalo Bills play the Denver Broncos on Saturday. I'm like, yes, I like the way you're thinking. So we're going to make a little bit of a long road trip out of it. We're going to leave tonight and start driving to Denver. And we're even going to go to John Elway's Steakhouse in Denver.
Love that.
Super excited about that. So we will be doing the show tomorrow. You'll see me remotely from the van is all. Anyway, guys, we've got a number of things to talk about here today. So let's get things started. And we're going to start off with this. You know, I've been very curious about this new Game of Thrones show, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. It hasn't nearly gotten the pop or the momentum or the buzz that House of the Dragon got when it was coming out. And so I've been kind of lukewarm, but interested. But then the last couple of previews of it made me go, this looks really good, actually. And I've been kind of excited. And I totally forgot it's coming out this month. It's coming out in just a couple of weeks. Well, the reviews for A Night of the Seven Kingdom are now out. And as of this recording, they could go up or down, but as of this morning, it's sitting at 84%. And people seem to be really liking it. As we go over and take a look at some of the reviews, Looper wrote, Game of Thrones is revitalized by A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, charming, intimate, delightful series that'll change the way you look at Westeros forever. The National liked it, saying, Rude riddance? That's probably a typo. Rude riddance. Okay, Scooby.
Yeah.
Good riddance to all the dragons. This is a human story, and by focusing on the multitudes contained in its characters, we're reminded of why no other fantasy series quite scratches the itch of Thrones. NME liked it, saying, even though the 6 episodes clock in at around 30 minutes each, I don't like that.
No.
Yeah.
I don't like that. Why not make it a movie? Anyway, it still takes a while to find its feet. The second half of the season is stronger than the first, but even then, there are wobbles. Fandom Wire really liked it, saying A Night of the Seven Kingdoms is an incredibly paced, well-acted, and fun-natured series that is a must-watch. Mama's Geeky liked it, saying A Night of the Seven Kingdoms managed to do the impossible. It made Westeros feel small and personal again while maintaining the epic dramatic tension that made me fall in love with this universe in the first place. Daily Beast liked it, saying it may be an addendum, but it's proof that there's plenty of Westeros terrain left to explore. MovieWeb liked it, saying A Night of the Seven Kingdoms brings humor and fellowship to Westeros on an intimate scale. It's a brilliantly immersive story with rich characterizations that largely ignores the fantasy elements, which is fine. We've got House of the Dragon and all that kind of stuff for that. Comicbook.com liked it, saying, just like I adore the novellas, I loved this show. It's wonderful getting to step back into Westeros and to explore a different side to it. And the last one I'll do right now is Empire Magazine, who wrote, like its heroes, it keeps an old-fashioned chivalric moral compass, a series simply sworn to protect the innocent. And here's the thing that I really like about these things. Because, when the reviews come out for certain movies and shows, there are certain things I'm looking for. Like, in the previews, I pick up on certain things watching previews. And then when the reviews come out, I kind of see if those get reflected in the reviews. And as we started watching the last few previews for A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, I started feeling like this is going to be really character driven. It's going to really revolve around the charm of this main character particularly, and this delightful dynamic between him and Egg, I think they call him. It's going to really be a lot about that, and it feels much more intimate, like telling the story of Westeros from the perspective of just the people who live in it, not the people who rule it, not the people who conquer it, from the people who live in it. And reading through the reviews here now, it seems to be that's exactly what they did. And according to the reaction, it seems like they did it really well. So Rob, I got to say, this show has been kind of rocketing up my anticipation list for this year, for the television this year. And I honestly can't wait to watch this thing. Anyway, what are you taking away from the reviews we're getting for Night of the Seven Kingdoms?
Well, I love what I hear because, you know, if you think about Game of Thrones, it's a show where so many shows or so many things in genre entertainment are where you're watching the leaders of the world that we are dealing with. You know, we're dealing with the power players. We're dealing with the kings and the queens and the people that rule the fate of everyone in Westeros. However, every single person, as we know, has drama in their lives. You know, the everyman has a drama. One of my favorite movies, one of the greatest movies of all time, Vittorio De Sica's Bicycle Thieves, or The Bicycle Thief, if you know it that way, is about a man who loses his bike. His bike is stolen. And it's an epic story because it's a personal story about one man's plight. And I love the idea that they've gone the exact opposite direction and told the story, a simple tale of a person who lives in Westeros. Because we've seen people that like day players, but we've never delved into their lives. We're either talking about assassins or kings or queens or people that have a lot to lose or wizards or whatever. But this is the story of a guy, you know, and his daily life wanting to do good in the world. And I love that because you have the universe, you have the world. But what I think most of all is this is the way how you extend a franchise. You don't try and duplicate necessarily the formula, but you also have to be true to the world that you're working within. And that's what I think that they're doing here is that one comment where it said, even though it's a small story, it still has that feel that makes Westeros so compelling as a universe. And that to me is catnip. I'm like,
you know who needs to learn a lesson from this?
Everyone.
Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, you got the world, you got your core world, but the world, the universe is bigger. Go explore it. I like that this is doing that. So I'm liking what I'm hearing. Guys, question is for you. What do you think about these reviews for Night of the Seven Kingdoms from the world of Game of Thrones? It sounds really promising to me. I'm looking forward to it. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to some breaking news.
That was not planned.
We were just talking about one of the most hotly anticipated shows coming up this year. It's not coming out this year, but one of my most hotly anticipated shows, period. Because it's being showrun by the greatest showrunner in the world, Ronald D. Moore, the God of War series.
You know, you could have said For All Mankind Season 5. You could have.
We have our Kratos.
What? John
Kratos
Travolta
has been cast, and I couldn't be more excited about it.
I already know who this is then.
Sons of Anarchy's Ryan Hurst, this being reported in Deadline, has been cast as Kratos, and this is fucking perfect. This is perfect casting.
Great.
And I don't know why. In all the times that we've talked about who could play Kratos and blah, blah, I am absolutely dumbfounded about why I never thought of Ryan Hurst. He's perfect for this. He is a dynamite actor. He brings a power and a presence to the screen when he needs to, but he can also bring a softness. Like Opie, you guys know, well, look right behind me here. By the way, this cut, signed by the whole cast. By the way, you can't really see it here, but this Sons of Anarchy cut, actually from set, actually autographed by the entire cast of Sons of Anarchy, including Ryan Hurst's autograph is on this. One of my favorite shows. Okay. And Opie was my favorite character on that show. And he is basically the Hulk. I mean, he's the one guy you don't piss off. But at the same time, he's got a super soft side, his dad, all that kind of stuff. Then he did this one show that was actually really terrible, but he was great in it, about a bunch of mountain people who live outside of this town. And but they stay separate from the world. It was really weird. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It wasn't called The Outsiders. It was called something else. Anyway, terrible show, but he was great in it. He brings the size. Ryan Hurst is a big man. He's a big man. But he is, more importantly, he is a killer actor who brings all the traits that this role is going to require. He's the guy. This is, every once in a while, there's casting announcements where you go, I mean, most often the casting announcement, oh yeah, that was one of the guys predicted, but every once in a while, a casting announcement comes out where it's kind of out of left field and you go, oh my God, that's it. That's the one. They got the perfect guy. And I am just absolutely thrilled. I haven't even read the story. Let me go into the story here. Again, this comes us from Deadline. Ryan Hurst from Sons of Anarchy and The Abandons has been cast as Kratos in Prime Video's God of War from Sony Pictures Television and Amazon MGM Studios. Based on Sony PlayStation's ancient mythology-themed video game, the series received a 2-season order, already 2 seasons, with pre-production underway in Vancouver, British Columbia, Canada, and casting has begun. Here's the key part from writer, showrunner, and executive producer Ronald D. Moore, once again, the greatest showrunner of all time. Outlander, For All Mankind. I don't know why they didn't include Battlestar Galactica on there, the greatest show ever made. Or, well, at least they included For All Mankind for Robert
as they should, because that's the greatest show on TV right now, doing with science fiction.
God of War follows father and son Kratos and I always say his name wrong, Atreus. As they embark on a journey. It's just really his name's Boy.
It's like Atreyu from The Never-Ending Story.
That's right. His real name is just Boy, or Loki. As they embark on a journey to spread their ashes of their wife and mother, Faye, through their adventures, Kratos tries to teach his son to be a better god, while Atreus tries to teach his father how to be a better human. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. The story of God of the 2 most recent God of Wars are beautiful. They're absolutely beautiful and exciting and thrilling and filled with mythology. And when I heard Ronald D. Moore was doing this, I lost my mind that Ronald D. Moore was doing this. This should be everything. Ryan Hurst as Kratos is chef's kiss. I full applause to the people behind the casting of this. This is a perfect casting. Anyway, Rob, I know you've been looking forward to this show as well.
Oh, yeah.
What are you thinking about the casting of Ryan Hurst as Kratos?
I think it's a fantastic idea, and they're going to paint him white, I would imagine. But
by the way, one of our viewers, Damaris Love in the live chat, of course, I don't know why I forgot about this, pointed out that Ryan Hurst does the voice of Thor in God of War Ragnarok, the most recent God of War game. I totally forgot. And they totally modeled it after him too. Anyway, sorry to interrupt.
No,
Please continue.
I think, look, this is great. Look at Ronald D. Moore's shows like Outlander and look at For All Mankind. The man knows casting. People said, how can you gender swap Starbuck? And we got Katie Sackhoff.
Yep.
Now we all know. So I would never bet against the man who co-wrote All Good Things. The end.
Oh, I didn't. I know he did Star Trek: The Next Generation. I didn't know he wrote All Good Things.
He co-wrote it with
which is
Brandon
the
Braga.
greatest series. I've always contended the greatest series finale in television history.
He also wrote Sins of the Father in the 3rd season, which is one of the great Klingon episodes of all time. I'm just saying.
A little sidetrack there.
Still sidetracked, but hey, he's a great writer and he knows what's up, and he's a terrifically nice guy. And I just found places to buy bootleg model kits of the ships from For All Mankind. I should tell him, but I don't want to get in trouble.
Yeah, now the key is casting Atreus. Obviously, it's probably gonna be somebody we've never seen. It's probably gonna be a kid we've never met. and that's fine. But getting that chemistry right is going to be so key for this show. And now that you've got your pillar, now that you've got Ryan Hurst, now you know what to look for. You've got your Rosetta Stone there. Now you know what you need to play this kid off of, and then go out, hopefully get a kid that's got great chemistry with this. Again, guys, for those of you just joining us, Ryan Hurst from Sons of Anarchy has been cast as Kratos in God of War, and the casting could not be more perfect.
You know what else too, John, is what's great about this casting is while he's great in Sons of Anarchy and people know him, so he has the credibility that a showrunner can hire him, it's God of War that's going to be a star-making role.
It is.
For him.
This is going to make him a household name.
Yeah, because, and they got him, look, if they try and cast a big, if you cast, let's say, Arnold Schwarzenegger in his heyday, it would have cost a fortune. It would have made the show, you probably couldn't have done it. But they found, not only did they find the perfect actor, but they found the perfect actor that's going to allow the show to get made with the budget it needs, because you don't have to pay somebody an exorbitant fee. It was a very smart thing to do. And I'm sure that, I bet Ron Moore got some pushback from that casting too, until people really started. I bet he had to show people like, no, watch this guy. And he had to show, and people said, okay. And that's why it's so cool. It's so cool that this casting happened, because this is one of the key. This is a big deal.
This is a huge.
This is a big deal.
Yeah.
Like
because I'm not gonna, no word of a lie. I have been more interested in this casting. I'm not kidding. I'm not saying anybody else should feel this way. I have been more kind of zeroed in and focused and kind of obsessed with this casting than I am about who's going to be the new Batman. I really have. I've been really more worried about this
because
one.
no one's seen this in live action, and the world has played God of War.
Yeah.
So it's like this matters to the planet Earth.
Well, anyway, guys, once again, Ryan Hurst is Kratos, and it couldn't be more perfect for the upcoming God of War series. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this, shall we? You know, this isn't world shaking, but every once in a while I like to talk about some information that comes out that I just found really interesting. And a study just came out, some research just came out, showing what are the 10 most profitable and popular movie theaters in North America. And because, you know, the movie theater industry has been struggling, been showing signs of turning things around. 2026 looks like it's going to be great for it. But I always thought, I love the little bits of information like that. And I really thought this list was really telling and actually kind of cool. So let's go over. This is coming to us from, originally this story was posted in Deadline. This is coming to us from KTLA in Los Angeles. The 10 most profitable movie theaters and most popular movie theaters in North America. At number 10, the movie theater I saw the first J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie in, the Cineplex Yonge and Dundas in Toronto. It's a great theater. It used to be called the Scotia Theater or something like that. But anyway, now it's called the Cineplex Yonge Dundas in Toronto. Excellent theater. It's the number 10. At number 9, another Canadian theater, the Cineplex Laval in Laval, Quebec. That's at number 9. That does it for the Canadian entrance. At number 8, a theater you and I went to go see Aquaman in for the first time. The AMC Universal City Walk,
which has a real IMAX theater.
One of the very few legitimate large 70 millimeter IMAX screens. We've seen lots of movies there. It's a great movie theater.
There, 3D.
Good to see it up there on the list. At number 7, Rob, a theater you frequent quite often, the Regal Irvine Spectrum in California.
Which could double as a dance club. If they let me have a DJ night, I'm telling you, I could bring much more profitability.
That whole foyer area,
it's with the screens,
wonderful. It's
unbelievable. It's Ibiza in Orange County.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't Irvine or whatever, then you could see Hollywood doing like premieres there and
100%.
Oh yeah, if it wasn't like it's a good 30-40 minutes outside of LA.
Yeah.
So it's about 30 minutes from us too, but I do like going to movies. I've done about 4 or 5 films there. It's a really good theater.
Far enough for Angelinos to be like, what are we doing out here?
The people who run it are smart. Like I saw Friday the 13th 3D on Halloween this past year, and when I went to see it, not only was it in 3D, but they put it in Auditorium 13.
Oh yeah.
Which I was like, somebody was thinking, come
So
on.
perfect. So
pretty good.
perfect. All right. So that's the number 7. The number 6.
Irvine Spectrum. All right.
Another movie theater I've been to a hell of a lot. The AMC Century City 15.
This they do for a lot of reviews.
Yeah, I mean the main reason I have been to that theater hundreds of times
Yeah.
is because back when I used to go to wasted my time and went to press screenings, which really are a complete waste of time. I'd say 7 out of 10, 6 out of 10 press screenings in LA would be done at the AMC Century City 15. Some of them would be at the Grove. Some of them would be right down in Hollywood, usually at the Chinese 7 that's up above the main Chinese theater. But I'd say like more than half of them was always held at the AMC Century. This is where Steven Spielberg goes to watch movies, is the AMC Century City 15. Again, beautiful theater in the middle of this very rich, poshy mall.
It's tough to get in and out.
Well,
of.
It is tough to get in and out, although a lot of parking.
Lest we forget, it's the mall where they filmed Conquest of the Planet of the Apes at, because it used to be part of the 20th Century Fox lot.
By the way, it's also the mall where, what is that Ryan Gosling, Steve Carell movie called again?
Oh,
That's Crazy Stupid Love.
yeah.
Crazy Stupid
By
Love.
the way, I love that movie.
When they're standing outside, Ryan Gosling and Steve Carell, and he's teaching them about men only need like 6 items of clothing, and blah, 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 and they're standing outside that mall. That's the AMC Century City that's in the background.
right
Anyway.
by the Watergate Hotel.
Yes.
Infamous Watergate.
All right. And by the way, just right around the corner from Nakatomi Towers.
Yep.
Not too far up the street
True.
from there. All right. Now we get into the top 5. The number 5, the AMC Grove 14. By the way, forgive me, I'm not American. LA is Louisiana.
No, that's the Grove is
Oh no, this is in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
It's weird that they're saying LA though, because everything else is by state.
Yeah, everything else says by
Yeah.
state. So
Maybe there's a Grove in Louisiana as well, because there's a Grove in Los Angeles.
because it doesn't say Los Angeles.
Everything else is
it
California.
says LA.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the Grove, because when I was married, I lived very close to there, and we were there like every day.
Yeah.
Right,
But that's
but
over
it's-
by the farmer's market. If
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
again, I've gone to a number, but I just don't know, because like when it's like go at this list, when they're saying the city Toronto, they write Toronto, they write Laval, and they put the state.
Well, they do say
Although they
Toronto.
didn't do it for Century City.
Yeah, and they do say it's
AMC
they-
Century City. Oh yeah, they didn't do that. Okay,
Huh.
so let's assume it's Los Angeles.
All right.
Yeah.
Poorly done on their
Yeah.
part, but that would make sense. I don't know why one in Louisiana, although I'm sure they have wonderful movie theaters there, or just be on this list. All right, at number 4, I just did a movie meetup at this movie theater. We did our movie meetup in Orlando at the AMC Disney Springs 24. I was just there. Great
Yeah.
time.
I've yet to do a dine-in from AMC. How does it compare to iPick, the dine-in?
iPick's a little bit better, but you know, AMC dine-ins, there's one about 40 minutes from here that it was my first dine-in theater experience, and it was a revelation. It was great because, you know, it was before I did that. I always had this picture of, man, pressing a button so like basically wait staff comes to you. That's gonna be really distracting.
They
in a
are
movie.
ninjas.
They are ninjas.
Sometimes they scare me. I'm like, jeez.
Yeah, I'm like, what? Like they sulk into the theater. Like they come to you and you're like, you don't even noticing them coming.
Yeah.
They are really good at their job. So at number 4, again, and a big hello to everybody in Florida who came out to our movie meetup there a couple of months ago, the AMC Dine-In Disney Springs 24 in Orlando, Florida. All right, now we get into the top 3. At number 3, AMC Empire 25. This is a really weird theater because it's like 7 stories. I'm not
Yeah.
sure it's 7 stories, but it's like everything in New York. It's vertical. And I remember when I was working for AMC, and for a time we had a New York correspondent, because sometimes press junkets and stuff like that would be in New York, and
Right.
I don't like going to New York. So it's like, well, what if we hire somebody in New York? And so I flew down to New York, and they gave us an entire floor at this theater to conduct interviews for a couple of days. And it's really impressive. I mean, it's aging, But just the way it's structured, I've never been in a movie theater like that, but it's right in down there near Times Square. So AMC Empire 25, New York City at number 3. At number 2, also New York City, AMC Lincoln Square, New York City. I've never been to this one.
I think I might have seen at Lincoln Square Days of Future Past. I think so.
Really?
Yeah.
You were out there for that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I hear about this theater all the time. Never been there. By the way, let me point out that in the 10, out of the 9 we've done so far, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them are AMCs, and all 6 through number 2 are AMCs. Which brings us to now the number 1. My home theater.
Yep.
Old Stomping Grounds, the AMC Burbank. By the way, again, another typo. It is not the AMC Burbank 30. It's the AMC Burbank 16.
And there's 2 other satellites.
Yeah, they're satellite ones, but the
Yeah.
AMC Burbank 16, where we also just did a movie meetup, that of course is where I set up AMC Movie News's original studio in the little converted storage closet there. So yeah, so look all the way number 1 through 6, AMC Burbank, AMC Lincoln Square, AMC Empire, AMC Dining Theater, AMC Grove, AMC Century City. Only 1 Regal theater on this list.
Yeah.
But a great one, Regal Irvine, 2 Canadian ones, both Cineplex, of course, because almost every theater in Canada is a Cineplex. And that's it. Regal, Cineplex, and AMC are the ones on there. So you got a favorite one out of these?
Well, I love them all. I mean, I in terms of like the theater in New York, the second theater in New York, that's where we had Tango Shalom open. Was
Really?
In that. Yeah, and that's why we were in deadline, because we were the number 1 specialty opening because but I like them all. You know what's really interesting about virtually every one of the LA theaters? They're all destination places where people can walk around.
Yes.
So
very key. Yeah.
you've got like the Burbank 16 has free parking, and you don't just have the little like mall area that you have, because you've got the Yard House there, you've got Barney's Beanery there, but literally
100 restaurants within about a 10-minute
all
walk
of downtown Burbank. So it's a destination spot where you go and spend the whole day. Same with the Regal Spectrum, same with the Grove. All of these places, like the Regal Spectrum is that whole area, again, a giant shopping complex with lots of restaurants, and there's people go there. When you go there on a Friday night, there's all kinds of kids and teenagers going to places, and it's interesting. And all the theaters in New York, of course, it's New York, so people can walk in. And I think that's really fascinating that none of these theaters are theaters that are like standalone. Like I grew up in Seattle, so we had these big block theaters like the John Dance Theater was this single gigantic theater where I saw like Superman the movie and Logan's Run and Spy Who Loved Me and Star Trek the Motion Picture. But there was nothing there except that theater. Like you would drive and you'd have to go to that theater. Now there was Bellevue, which had the mall and stuff, but not where you could walk, but it was blocks away. And that just doesn't work anymore. You have to have these places in walkable venues where people can dip in and out. Like, hey, we're shopping. Let's go see a movie. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or you have impulse movie going where it's like, what's playing? So that's key.
Yeah. And again, AMC's dominance there. And by the way, really happy for AMC Burbank 16. They have I'm pretty sure he's still there. I think he is. But the general manager of that particular theater, a guy by the name of Jeff, was just a terrific general manager.
Like, my name is Jeff.
My name's Jeff.
But that whole theater,
just like that too.
Yeah.
There's a good bar there.
Yep.
You can go hang out in the bar if you don't want to go see a movie, which is key.
Yeah. It's a wonderful, wonderful theater. And I love hanging around it and all that kind of stuff. So congratulations to them. And there you go, guys. By the way, somebody in the live chat called Yer Funny Gaming is saying, I don't get why you say, because I just kind of mentioned that press screenings are a waste of time. I don't get why you say press screenings are a waste of time. Can you explain? Yeah, because they are. They're a complete waste of time. It took me years to figure that out. But here's why press screenings, for somebody like me, not for anybody else, but for somebody like me, I ultimately realized they were a complete waste of time, is because 2 things. One, I realized that when I would do like my out of theater reactions, the ones I did 3 or 4 days before the movie came out, because I was at a press screening, didn't get any more views than the ones I would do for ones I couldn't get to the press screening of, and I just went to opening day.
Right.
So I go to one movie at the press screening a couple of days early and do my out-of-theater review. And then I do an out-of-theater review for a movie on a Thursday night, the night that a movie actually opened. And there was no benefit. None.
No. But to be fair, I mean, if you're writing something, if you're writing a
But
piece.
but here's the thing too. My belief has come to, I don't think, like, if I'm not getting any more views 3 or 4 days early than if I do it on opening night, I don't believe your article about it is going to get any more views if you do it 2 or 3 days early versus when you do it when you
I mean,
open.
they need lead time.
You need lead
they
time
would
to write
drop
it.
a
Yeah,
review the
that's
day
why
the
I
movie
said
came
for somebody
out.
like me.
Yeah.
But the second reason it made it a really big waste of time was when you considered that if I go opening night, I get to go to my home theater.
Right.
I get to just drive a few minutes, go to my theater, see it with a big audience, all that kind of stuff. Whereas with press screenings, I would literally have to drive like 40 minutes across town just to go to the AMC Century City, which is a great theater, but I'd have to drive like 45 minutes, so set the entire night out to go there for literally no benefit, which is one of the same reasons why I stopped doing, I stopped doing press junkets and interviewing celebrities when I was still at AMC, because I realized, this is true. In the same week, I put up an exclusive interview with me and Robert Downey Jr. Me and Robert Downey Jr. sitting down talking about his journey playing Iron Man. That same week, I did a little editorial video on my favorite snacks at the movie theater. Guess which one got 5 times more views? The one is just me talking about my favorite snacks at the movie theater.
Because the audience relates to that, but they're never going to meet Robert Downey Jr.
Nobody cares about celebrity interviews.
When it comes to that, you got to be the bigs. You know, if you're Entertainment Week, Entertainment Tonight, or whatever, like the bigs, that's where people tune in for those kind of interviews.
The only time, and this is where the guys who did Hot Ones and
Access
sneaker
Hollywood.
shopping and stuff like that got it right. The only times, and I know we've gone way off on a tangent here. Sorry about that, guys. I'll just finish my thought. The only time anybody cares about celebrity interviews is when they're being done in interesting scenarios, i.e. Hot Ones. Hot Ones is awesome. I love watching Hot Ones.
Because people want to
engaging,
know
it's
who
entertaining.
celebrities are as people.
Yeah.
When you're interviewing them at a press junket, they're telling you, let me tell you about my character. Nobody cares. People want to know about who they are as people. That's why Hot Ones works well, because you get to see people with their guard down, and no one can escape spicy food.
They're in pain. They're yeah, exactly.
They actually came to me because the people at Complex who were the people who owned Collider when I was running Collider Video.
Right.
They came to me one time and said, we have an idea for an interview show. And they knew I was like totally against wasting our time with celebrity interviews. But they said, but we've got an idea we think you'll like. I'm like, okay, what's that? And they know we're really into poker. He goes, what if we set up an interview show kind of likened unto sneaker shopping, comic book shopping, Hot Ones, but it's playing poker and you just talk while playing poker with them. And I said, okay, I think people might find that interesting. Sure, see if you can develop it. And then they never did anything with it, but I thought that was interesting. Anyway, we're supposed to be talking about movie theaters, and I pulled us way off on a tangent. My bad. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this big list? Rob is great to point out the fact that a lot of these are like right in the middle of big shopping areas, which I think is key. Nice to see a couple of Canadian ones on there. Are any of these your local and favorite movie theater? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to this. Of course, as the world turns, General Hospital, All My Children, the drama continues with Netflix versus Paramount in their never-ending quest to get Warner Brothers. Now, of course, as you know, Netflix has technically won the bidding war, but Paramount's not giving up the ghost. They keep trying to do things and doing what losers do and embarrassing themselves. And now they're going to try to sue them because they're little fucking babies. And what a pathetic excuse of a absolutely desperate, embarrassing company Paramount is making itself out to be these days. But that aside, in the midst of all this stuff, Netflix has looked at it apparently and said, well, maybe we should change up our offer a little bit just to really cement it in. And according to CNBC now, if you guys remember, Netflix's offer was mostly cash, but also a bunch in stock, that they would give the current shareholders stock in it. it's generally considered more preferable if it's all cash. So apparently, according to this report, Netflix is changing their offer or looking at changing their offer to all cash. And that could be very significant. And here's why. This comes to us from CNBC, writes, Bloomberg first reported this week that Netflix was considering adjusting its offer to be all cash. Now, why would they do that? Here it is. An amended offer would allow Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders to vote to approve the deal on a faster timeline. Faber reported, citing sources familiar with the matter. Under the current deal that includes stock, shareholders are expected to vote on the deal in spring or summer. Faber reported, deals comprised of stock typically mean more financials and more accounting need to be issued as a part of seeking approvals, which requires more time and expense, Faber added. If Netflix were to make its offer all cash, get this, the shareholder vote could move up as early as February or early March, Faber reported. The change would come as Paramount Skydance has turned up the heat on its hostile push. It's completely humiliating themselves to acquire all of Warner Brothers Discovery's business. All right. So, I remember somebody asked last week as we were talking about the developments of all this, is like, does Netflix do anything to try to reposition themselves in response to what Paramount's doing? And it seems like this is a pretty significant thing. But more significant is this. It becomes much more difficult, not impossible, but it becomes more difficult to litigate something like this if the shareholders themselves have voted on it and approved it. It's a lot easier to litigate something against a board of a company, saying, particularly one of the big, strong positions you can take is you're not acting in the best interests of your shareholders. And that's a totally legitimate route that Paramount can take. Totally legitimate. By moving up the timeline of when the shareholders themselves, the actual owners of the company, of the shareholders themselves vote, makes litigating it not impossible. Absolutely not. There are still avenues, but it makes it more difficult because you can't say, well, you're not doing good by the shareholders. The shareholders voted. They had all the information. They made a decision. They're the owners. So that is actually really interesting that it could move that timeline up, and it might make it even a little bit more appealing to the shareholders themselves. Now, of course, one of the other things that's holding back and has held back and continues to hold back Paramount's bid is, besides the fact that it appears that they're no more trustworthy than rats in your wall, is the fact that they don't really trust their financing. Warner Brothers has said that publicly. They're not really feel secure on what Paramount's financing is. Now, of course, a big chunk of Paramount's financing is being guaranteed through Daddy Ellison, David Ellison's daddy, Larry Ellison over at Oracle. And, well, here's the thing. If you look at Oracle's stock, since they announced that they were going to try to get Warner Brothers, they have lost, get this, over $336 billion. Let me say that number again. Since the time that they announced that they were going to try to get Warner Brothers, Oracle's value has dropped $336 billion. They've lost 33% of their value. Now, I'm not representing here that that's all as a result of them trying to go after Warner Brothers. There's AI issues. There's some litigation issues. There's a bunch of different things. I'm not sitting here telling you that this is all because of this. It's part of it. It's part of it. And so I'm sure Warner Brothers, and this is just me speculating, of course, but I'm sure Warner Brothers is also looking at this and saying, you guys have lost over $300 billion in value in the last couple of months. You'll forgive us if we don't feel totally secure in your financing in trying to put this deal together. And if again, as Warner Brothers stated, if things go wrong with your financing, it's going to cost us. And we just don't feel comfortable with what you're doing. Now, there are ways Paramount could restructure it, increase their deal, come up with more solid financing that might make it more appealing to Warner Brothers down the line. And we shouldn't exclude that as a possibility and become much more legitimate. Maybe it does. But again, this move to move up the shareholder vote and to make it easier for them to get those approvals is a pretty key strategy. Rob, I still think at some point Netflix is actually going to increase their dollar value. I think they will. I think just to kind of put a nail in it and say, okay, not only are we going to make it all cash, and not only are we going to move up the timeline for the vote, we'll increase our bid as well. I think that'll happen at some point just to solidify it. But the game's not over. The game's not over.
Still afoot.
There are still avenues here that Paramount can explore, some legitimate and some sneaky little rat ways. Hopefully it'll be the legitimate ones where, they could ultimately prevail, but Netflix just made a move that's going to make it tougher for that. Anyway, you saw this news about Netflix making this move to an all cash offer. What do you think?
Well, I think they kind of had to do that. They're now fighting the good fight, so to speak. I can't believe that I'm now on the side of Netflix when I think Netflix has the best interests of Warner Brothers at heart as its own.
I have very begrudgingly been convinced of that.
100%.
It's not how I felt 3 months ago, but I have been won over a little bit.
And I'm talking to people internally at Warner Brothers. They've sort of given me that sense as well. Because what does Netflix do? It produces movies and shows. That's what it does. That's all it does. That's all it does.
Mostly shows.
Mostly shows. But Warner Brothers is whereas Paramount seems to have other agendas beyond that. So to me, look, at the end of the day, John, I just want to get great shows and great movies. Continued to get great shows and great movies. I want HBO quality programming, and I want to watch the kind of movies that Warner Brothers put out in 2025, whether it was Companion, whether it was Sinners, whether it was Weapons, whether it was one battle after another. Let's hope that happens. I don't even know what Paramount's producing this year, and they don't own Warner Brothers. I have no idea. They're making a Jack Ryan movie, which I want to see, but I mean, come on, man. But I think that it's really shrewd what they're doing. They did what they had to do. They're going to up their cash offer. They're going to make it, like this article said, easier for the shareholders to ratify this idea. Kind of reminds me of like Godfather 3, when Michael Corleone's trying to get International Immobiliare. And the Swedish kind says, it's just business. Oh, yeah? You want to do business with me? I'll do business with you. But I think it's a good thing, and I do think you're right. I think they're going to have to up their offer as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be an all-cash offer that's got to go up, 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 up.
And again, I just wish Paramount right now would, the Elsons just got Paramount. I still think there's potential there for them. I just wish they would focus on just doing Paramount, because all the Ellisons are doing right now is shaming and embarrassing the legacy of Paramount. They're literally just bringing shame.
Well, and what are they doing with? I mean, they still have to. Paramount still has to work. Skydance merged with Paramount, and where's all the great moves that they were making?
They've got a pretty pathetic lineup, 2026 lineup.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, there's a couple of interesting looking projects in there. But anyway, as a result of them completely shaming and pissing all over the reputation of Paramount, I have canceled Paramount Plus. I don't plan on watching any Paramount movies this year. That's just me. I'm not saying anybody else should do that. That's just me. But it's going to be interesting to see how this little drama continues to unfold. Guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this move? Netflix is now finally starting to respond a little bit to some of the moves being done by Paramount. I don't think it's going to be the last one. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. Sorry, somebody in the live chat just said, guys, what are you talking about? Paramount is killing it. They have Jackass 5 coming. Which I don't think is a bad thing, by the way. All right. Guys, with that down, it's time for us to play a little game of verses. A little bit earlier today, I jumped on our YouTube channel and I asked you guys, do you guys have any versus matchups for us that we can tell you who would win in a battle between this, that, or the other thing? You guys sent in a ton of them. Jonathan's got a few picked out for us to address. So Jonathan, what's the first matchup?
First up, Rob, Friday night Filmdom says Daniel Day-Lewis in There Will Be Blood versus Lincoln.
Wow. Okay, here's
both Academy Award winning performances.
Yeah, okay, here's the thing. Look, There Will Be Blood is one of the great performances I think ever committed to film. Daniel Plainview is like an incredible character and all that. But you know what? And that's the obvious, I think that's the obvious winner. But he got to sort of create that character from whole cloth. I believe it's a fictional character that Paul Thomas Anderson made up. Abraham Lincoln is one of the great figures out of American history. I was wondering, what does he sound like? What does Lincoln sound like? What's a Brit gonna do with or pardon me, is he British or I want to make sure.
I thought he was Irish.
That's what I was saying. Irish because there will be one left foot. You know,
Right.
if he's Irish, I don't want to say he's a Brit. I'm
In
sorry.
name of the father.
I
all of
apologize to everybody. Just so you know, luck of the Irish. I only drink Irish whiskey. Just so you know, I've never been there. It's a dream of mine to go to Ireland and walk around and go to every distillery. But that said, I think his performance in Lincoln. You know, John, I didn't see it in the theater. I kind of didn't want to see Lincoln. I don't know why. I bought Lincoln. And it kept going to the bottom of my pile of discs I bought. And then one day I said, okay, I'm going to watch it. I watched it night after night after night. I was stunned by that performance. I was stunned by that movie.
Which is why he's got another Oscar for it.
I'm going to go with the less showy performance, but the movie that performance floored me. Where I expected to be floored and There Will Be Blood.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one of those questions where there's really no wrong answer because we are talking about the greatest actor of all time. We're talking, he is the GOAT of GOATs. Yeah, that's it. It's Daniel Day-Lewis. I gotta stay though with There Will Be Blood because I've always said that me personally, it's a very subjective thing, of course, but me personally, There Will Be Blood, Daniel Day-Lewis in that, is I believe, the single greatest performance we've ever seen in film. I don't think there's ever been a better performance given by an actor or an actress in any film, which is the main reason why Paul Dano doesn't get more credit for that movie because Paul Dano was insanely good in that too. But he was acting across from the greatest performance ever put to film. So Academy Award winning performance in Lincoln, I agree with you. Absolutely stellar in that. But I'm going to go with his performance in There Will Be Blood.
I'm an oil back.
What's next?
we're gonna go to you, John, on this one.
All right.
We're gonna hear from Collins, who says James Gunn's Marvel work versus James Gunn's work with DC.
Ooh, that's an interesting question, but for me, it's a rather simple one. It's his work in Marvel. And the reason I'm going to say that and so quickly is because we don't yet have enough of his work with DC. I mean, yeah, we've had the television show with Peacemaker and we've had Superman, which have been great, but he's really just getting started. Whereas over in Marvel, he gave us one of their best trilogies and ending it off with Guardians of the Galaxy 3, which came out when Marvel was struggling a bit and it was dynamite, made a bunch of money. It was emotional and fantastic. So I'm going to say we can revisit this question in like a year and a half, 2 years. But for right now, I'm going to say, because it was just completed and more fleshed out, I'm going to say his work in Marvel right now. Rob, what about you?
100%. I mean, I love the Guardians movies. I'm a big fan of Guardians 2. A lot of people don't like Guardians 2 as much, but I really liked Guardians 2 a lot. I thought the whole idea of dysfunctional families, people from dysfunctional families finding themselves in their family and all that, I love. I'm always a sucker for that. And I think I'll tell you something. I still think James Gunn is finding his way when it comes to DC. Because he's brought his sensibility over, but he hasn't made it entirely unique. Because look, I love the Suicide Squad.
Oh, I think it's great.
I loved it.
Yeah, loved it.
But it had his humor in it, and I thought that was like a DC James Gunn movie. And I think that both Peacemaker and Superman are kind of fighting. There's an internal struggle with James Gunn, the guy who's coming from Slither and Super. There wasn't a struggle in Guardians. He sort of forged his own path, but I think in his DC work, he's still trying to figure out what is his path because he's doing different things. Peacemaker is very different than the Suicide Squad, which is, even though Peacemaker's in the Suicide Squad, which is also very different than Superman, whereas Guardians gave us these characters that he took them all on a journey. He did 4 Guardians projects, and they all kind of really work together. So I think, like you said, he needs more time at DC. I think that his Man of Tomorrow movie is going to be key to seeing where we're going to go. I think whatever his direction for DC is, what the James Gunn direction is, it will be solidified in what Man of Tomorrow is. I think that's going to be the definitive DC James Gunn work.
All right, what's next?
Next up, we're going to go right back to you, Rob, when we hear from Akmal Hamed, who says Steven Spielberg's Fablemans versus Nolan's Oppenheimer.
Look, for me, this is an easy one. I got to give it to Nolan's Oppenheimer.
I see Oppenheimer.
Because, look, I like the Fablemans a lot. I thought it was really
it's so good.
You know, and it's a really wonderful portrait of his family, and it's kind of, you know, it's just about his own life. But I think Oppenheimer is a staggering achievement, making us care about what is a very difficult thing to turn into something. I thought that movie was absolutely riveting from beginning to end. Not that the Fablemans wasn't, but I expected that from Spielberg. He's going into his own childhood. He's portraying his own parents. You know, he's got David Lynch playing John Ford. I expected that movie to be good. But Oppenheimer, I went in there
You didn't expect a Christopher Nolan film to be good?
Well, but you know what though? It was like I thought that Dunkirk might be good, but I'm like, how are you going to make He turned it into like this art film about this incident, playing with 3 different timelines. I couldn't believe it.
I still want to try to cut Our Finest Hour with Dunkirk.
Oh yeah.
I watched those back to back. It would be totally, that would be awesome. But Oppenheimer I was blown away. I mean, is Oppenheimer perfect? No. But I think distilling that subject matter into what he did do with it was stunning. I was stunned by it. So I got to go with Oppenheimer.
Yeah, listen, I cannot overstate how great I think Fablemans is. I mean, it's such an
a wonderful movie.
It's such an intimate, like really one of the greatest on-screen illustrations of the love of film, you know?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing on that level. But I got to go with Oppenheimer. I mean, Oppenheimer, I mean, there's a reason it wins the Academy Award. It's just a different kind of film, yes, but also I just put it a smidgen above. Again, I cannot overstate how much I love Fablemans. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful film, but it's not It's not even Steven Spielberg's top 4 best movies.
No.
I don't even know if it's in Steven Spielberg's top 5 best movies, where you could make an argument that Oppenheimer is Christopher Nolan's, you know, magnum opus at this point.
Yeah.
So far. So yeah, I'm going to go with Oppenheimer.
All right.
It's a good question, though.
It's a great question.
All right. Over to you, John. We're going to hear from Omar, who says better lightsaber duel, Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Maul versus Anakin Obi-Wan.
Oh, there's no question. There's no question. It's the Maul Qui-Gon Obi-Wan fight. No question. The problem is, while there's some great drama in the Anakin Obi-Wan fight, there's also several moments that are just purely laughable. Like purely laughable. And like everything, these are ones we've all covered before. Everybody's talked about before. That one moment when they're still in the building and they literally are just standing in front of each other. I'll use this. Standing in front of each other. They stand face to face, 2 feet in front of each other, and for like 35 seconds, just doing this. Not clashing lightsabers, just doing their little flippy flip.
They're building up the force. The midichlorians are getting riled up.
The midichlorians are getting all amped up. It's just laughable. It's like, it's over, Anakin. I have the high ground. You have literally, in 17 different times during this fight, stood in an elevated position over him. Why is now the high ground? I mean, again, there's good things about it, but the Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, and I hate all the prequels. I hate them all. But, I mean, I love that fight in The Phantom Menace. I just, everything, and you know what really takes it over the top? John Williams' Duel of the Fates. Like that.
It's so good.
It's just in that moment and like Qui-Gon dropping the robe and blah, blah. Yeah. So to me, it's an easy one. It's Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Maul fight. Rob, what about you?
100% yes. You're absolutely right. First of all, think about the context with which that lightsaber duel was presented. You're seeing 2 Jedis and a Sith Lord for the first time fighting. The speed of the choreography of that fight.
Oh,
It's in, and look, This Phantom Menace was one of the most disappointing experiences of my entire life. I'll flat out say it. But that fight, that lightsaber duel was the lightsaber duel. If you go back to 1999, that was the lightsaber duel we all dreamed of seeing. And for a brief moment, the Phantom Menace was the greatest Star Wars thing anyone had ever seen. That fight. And everybody was captivated by it. And that's why the rest of that movie is even more disappointing. Because John Williams, the Duel of the Fates scene, that score is one of the great pieces of music. Along with the entirety of the first Star Wars score, hearing the Imperial March. I mean, Jedi does not have an Imperial March in it. When you first heard the Imperial March, it was like, oh my God. And I first heard it because I bought the soundtrack album before I'd seen the movie, because the movie hadn't come out yet in the soundtrack. And I was like, what is this? Like, it was the second side of the LP. And I'm like, I played that 1,000 times. Before I'd seen the movie, I just kept listening to that. Duel of the Fates was like that too.
Duel of the Fates is on that level, man.
And
so
seeing that fight scene, I'm like, this is what I expected. This is what I've wanted my entire life, and now I'm getting it after 22 years. So I got to go with you. There's no question. There's no even contest.
By the way, just side note too, as much as I hate the movie, another scene in that movie I absolutely love is, I talk about it all the time, the racing scene.
Oh yeah,
the pod racing I think is.
By the way, justice for Ben Quadneros. I'm still.
Do you see they're doing a pod racing game is coming out?
Well, that they had one for what, PlayStation 2 Racer?
A long time ago.
That game was awesome.
Anyway, we need to move on.
I endlessly played that game.
All right.
What's next?
Justice for
Rob,
Ben.
you can keep talking here. When we're going to hear from who we hearing from? Not Omar, Elton Wang, Adrian Brody's performance in The Brutalist, or Mikey Madison's performance in Anora.
Both Academy Award winners that year.
That's a tough one. You know what? I'm going to go. I loved Anora. I really did. But I'm going to go with Adrian Brody, because I think, again, Adrian Brody is creating a character that he is not. A character that is, whereas...
Unlike all the other actors.
Well, I mean, but Mikey Madison is probably playing a character that she more understands. And she also,
because she's a stripper.
Well, no, she
Just digging a hole.
She didn't know. No, because she did the research. No, Mikey Madison, Mikey Madison threw herself into the research for that, whereas Adrian Brody didn't have that benefit.
Right.
And I think that Adrian Brody was having to dig deeper and create, whereas Mikey Madison, they talk about her, going out and talking to actual people that.
There's not a lot of guys who have been raped in a salt mine, or Marvel quarry. So,
look, it's all about. For me, it's about creating things from whole cloth.
Somebody in live chat said somewhere Adrian Brody is still giving his acceptance speech.
That's great.
Hey, listen. I think, lest you forget, very quiet, Adrian Brody is now a multi-time Academy Award winning actor.
Yeah.
He's great. His acceptance speech is one of the most embarrassing things ever. That was terrible. But he's great. He's great.
And he has a hot toy.
For the
From Predators.
Oh,
Predator,
okay. But I got to go with Mikey Madison. Because listen, when I watched him in Brutalist, it's powerful. It's fully deserved winning that Academy Award. Absolutely. But when I watched Anora, she gets totally lost in that character.
She does. She's amazing.
There are moments that I'm watching Anora where I forget I'm not watching like a news piece, a documentary news piece on somebody in that life. And like the way she just manifested that character, as an audience member, I got lost in it. I got completely lost in it. And so while they are both amazing, both Academy Award winning performances, I'm going to go with Mikey Madison.
Well, I see that. Look, I love that movie, and she's incredible. And she was actually incredible in her bit role in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh,
You know, she kind of at the end. Yeah, she's an amazing actress.
Yeah.
And-
She's going to have
and
a huge future.
That movie would not have worked without her. I mean, That movie
she
is
carried
built,
it on her shoulders.
It's built around that performance, and there's no doubt. I mean, there's no doubt. And Sean Baker is an incredible filmmaker. I mean, I recently got the Florida Project, the Second Sight box set in 4K. The guy's incredible. Yeah. And look, he cast Mikey Madison because he knew she would deliver, because that movie wouldn't have worked without her.
Yep. All right, what's next?
Okay, we're going back to you, John. This is our final verses when we hear from Anthony Hernandez, Heath Ledger's Joker versus Javier Bardem's Anton in No Country
These are
for
really
Old
good
Men.
today, John.
This is the single. I think this might be the toughest versus question we've ever been asked. Both, again, Academy Award-winning performances, both mesmerizing, both memorable, both quotable, both still talked about to this day and probably always will be. Two very different characters, but two delicious villainous turns. I'm gonna go Javier Bardem. Fredo.
Wow.
Look, again, the glory and the immortality of Heath Ledger's Joker is never in question. Never in question. It's beyond brilliant. But the one that lived with me a little longer, the one that disturbed me longer, haunted me longer, when he goes and visits the guy's wife at the end.
Oh, I know.
Oh my God. Like the ramifications of that.
Pissed me off.
Oh, I made a promise. So it just, yeah. So by the ever so slightest of margins, I gotta go Anton, Javier Bardem in that. It's just one of the greatest villain performances any genre ever. I put it up there with Anthony Hopkins. I put it up there with
Hannibal Lecter.
No, I was thinking of Die Hard.
Oh,
I'll put it up there with. It's just one of the greatest villain performances ever, and so I'm going to go with
You're talking about Hans Gruber.
Hans Gruber. There's no wrong answer in this question, but for me, I'm going to lean towards Anton. Rob, what about you?
so I'm going to cause the just like our last question. No doubt. And I love No Country for Old Men. I recently rewatched it again, and his performance cannot be, it's peerless. Like there's no. That said, Heath Ledger had previous Joker performances that existed. And he did something with that role that was completely original. That was completely off the page. It doesn't resemble any of the comic depictions of Joker. It didn't resemble what Cesar Romero did in the 60s show. It did not resemble what Mark Hamill did in the animated series. It did not resemble Jack Nicholson in and remember all the pushback that Heath Ledger's the Joker.
Yeah, Brokeback Mountain Boy.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I guess that works.
I
The
would
guy
say
from Brokeback Mountain.
I would
Don't leave
say
you
that-
cry.
10 Things I Hate About You.
Yeah.
He got everything.
I mean, but his Lords of Dogtown is one of the great. When he plays Skip
yeah.
Englund is also right up there and one of the great
Although the
performances of all
documentary's
time.
better.
Yeah, it is, but his performance. But I would say what he did with the Joker was so out on a limb. He took that character and he gave Christopher Nolan something that I think only he could have. I had a friend of mine, I still have, David Irwin is a dear friend of mine, worked for DC in marketing and was on set when they were shooting that movie. And he called me up and he goes, "You would not believe what I'm watching Heath Ledger do." And he was trying to explain it to me. And I go, "I don't get it." He goes, "I know. You're just gonna, people don't know." And he called me up like 3 or 4 times. And he was just stunned by watching him do it live. And I'm like, I don't even know what you mean. And I think that was so, it could not have worked. Like it was an actor making a choice and creating something indelible. And it was a director who saw what that actor did. And it was the great synergy between direction and performance that only movies can give you. And it was a perfect, and I could say the same thing with Javier Bardem. But the only thing is that there was previous things that Heath Ledger could have drawn upon, and he didn't. He gave us something we'd never seen before.
I think a great matchup is if people want to do a little homework, watch the scene where Joker is introduced to the mob and he kills Gamble, and watch the gas station heads or tails scene.
Oh, but you know what? It's less showy. But I've watched that gas station.
I still get frozen.
Every time it pops up on my YouTube feed, I'm like, I gotta watch that again.
What am I playing for? Everything.
Yeah, everything. You know what? The interesting thing too about Heath Ledger's Joker is, and I take some crap for this sometime, but I stand by this. I don't think Heath Ledger was that great of an actor overall. He was a bit hit and miss in his career. There were some really, really good performances, and there were some ones that he kind of felt like he phoned it in a bit. It just wasn't quite right. Which made his Joker performance all the more stunning. Like, I don't think anybody in the world thought he was capable of that, and he did it. And so you're going to go Joker. I'm going to go with Anton on that. All right.
That's almost an impossible choice.
Yeah. That's, again, I think that's the toughest
great.
one.
These were great
I love
questions.
the versus ones.
All right, guys. And that will wrap up today's little session of Versus. Thank you to everybody who sent in those little matchups. Keep your guys' eyes open for the next time we put out a call for submissions, and maybe you'll see your matchup featured on Versus. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Well, of course, recently, Stranger Things Season 5 wrapped up. And I didn't think it was the best season of Stranger Things, but I quite enjoyed it. I thought the finale was, about half of it I found boring as hell. The other half I found quite good. And I thought the ending, the button on the end was absolutely perfect. But there is a little documentary that came out about the making of Stranger Things Season 5 that Netflix is now airing that everybody's going crazy about. Because I've had so many people sending me messages saying, John, did you hear that they made the final episode without a script? What? They didn't have a script. They just made it all up as they were going along.
Ooh.
And
it's like Star Wars.
It's kind of like Star Wars. So I went into it, and sure enough, in the documentary, there's a moment when, let me see if I can get this name right. There's a production assistant, Montana Maniscalco, says, you can bring this up, Jonathan. We are shooting episode 8, which isn't completely written yet. Spoiler alert. Remember, this is one of the production assistants saying, so we don't fully know what's going on. And so I've seen a lot of people like talking about how, well, that explains why I didn't like, because, some people didn't like the finale, and that's okay. And saying things like, well, that's why I didn't like the finale. Like, they didn't even know what they were doing and all that kind of stuff, right? And number one, the first thought that went through my head was, I've seen a lot of television shows, and I've actually been on set of some television shows and writers' rooms where the writers' room is still plowing away on an episode they're currently shooting. It's not that unusual. This isn't a movie. Like, it's not that unusual. But the key point is this point in the Deadline article, which says this. In One Last Adventure, The Making of Stranger Things 5, the Duffer Brothers admitted not to having a final script ready as they started filming the series finale, which again is actually not all that unusual in the television industry. That being said, this is the key part where one of the Duffer Brothers says, it's not like we don't know what the ending is. It's all plotted out, Matt Duffer says in the doc. I have to write it, and we're just low on time. So what that tells us is, because some people, Rob, I think have taken this, a lot of the writing I've seen in the last day has been, they just made it up as they went along. They just kind of threw things at... Guys, in the documentary, the Duffer says, we know how it ends. We have all it plotted out. We know exactly what happens. I just haven't put like the final touches on the dialogue. I just haven't got this. It wasn't done. And they were kind of completing that as they were going. But again, the reality is that is not terribly unusual in the television industry. It actually happens quite often, which is why you'll have writers' rooms and showrunners. Like you'll have over in one room them actually rolling cameras, and in another room, a writer's room where the writers are still frantically scripting out. So again, the big thing for me is what it comes down to is like, look, guys, no. It's not like we didn't know what was going to happen. We knew the ending. We had it all plotted out. We knew exactly what was happening. We just didn't script it out yet, and we were working that as we were going. So is it an interesting thing? Yes. Is it this mind-boggling, earth-shaking, unprecedented thing? No, which is why they put it in the documentary. Anyway, Rob, I think there's much ado about nothing here, to quote Shakespeare, to be honest with you. Because again, I've been on sets of shows where this exact same thing has been happening, and it's not that unusual. Anyway, Rob, you read this. What's your takeaway from it?
Okay, I would say you're absolutely correct that there are shows, like when you think about TV shows, procedurals, comedies, there's a lot of time when they're writing, especially when they're making 26 episodes a season. I think for this particular show, for Stranger Things itself, with the amount of money it cost, with how long they had to make it, they should never have rolled cameras until they had everything finished, all of their sets done. Because when you don't have something finished, it's not fair to your actors and it's not fair to your crew. And it doesn't allow them to do their best work. And I think on a show like Stranger Things, that is their cornerstone show. And they only made 8 episodes, right? There's only 8 episodes.
Yeah.
Or 9, 8 or 9, I can't remember.
Yeah, I think it's 8. They should have had it all done and ready to go. So the characters, the actors know where they're going to take. I think, and you can see in that 9th episode, like half of it's good, and then half of it meanders around. I mean, it's clear to me that was a last minute writing job.
But it wasn't. Like they're saying, they had all the scenes. They knew exactly what was going to happen.
But having all the scenes is not the same as, right? Like, you know what's going to happen. I've seen this. This happens all the time. People get into trouble. On an episodic show, you can get by. If you're doing an episode. But on this, when you're dealing with one long narrative, by not having your climax finished, think of it. I don't think of Stranger Things as a series so much as it is. Each season is its own thing with a beginning, a middle, and an end. And that you've allowed your final season, which they had so much time to write. They had so much time before they shot that season. I think I think it hurt it. And if the last episode was amazing, I would say that's good. You got away with it. Gladiator didn't have a script. They started shooting the movie Gladiator. It had 30 pages of script. That was it when they started shooting. And then they started going along, and that turned out well.
Well, that's because the director while they didn't have all the scripting done, he had the full outline. He knew exactly what was going to happen. It's not like they were making it up as they were going along.
No, but they still, it's each scene. I think that the final hour of Stranger Things was not well done. And I think they wanted to hit all these points, but it's not well written. And I think that they betrayed themselves. And I understand why. Writing those long scripts is tough. But I also think with an episodic show, that each show's like an episode of House. Like, I love House. I watch House all the time, especially like the compilations of a whole episode in 9 minutes. Love that. But they were episodes. They know what they know what each episode's what it's going to be. But this was the culmination of 10 years. And I'm like, I wouldn't have allowed them. If I was the line producer of that show, I'm like, we're not starting production until you finish your scripts. I thought that was a bad thing to do.
But I don't know. I think it's much ado, because if it was a thing of like,
they know where they're going, but that doesn't mean it's good.
Like they know. No, I agree. But that happens when you have completed scripts or not. And I'm not trying to underplay the value of having a completed script. But this is the interesting thing about it, because at another point in this documentary, you see the entire cast and the production crew doing the full read-through that included the final episode, and it ends with them going, Mike closes the door, end series.
It's true.
So they clearly at one point had
they had a finished script.
They had a finished script. They clearly had it. They did the read-through with it.
Maybe there are reshoots or something he was referring to.
So what I'm thinking this is because if this was really a damning thing, they wouldn't have put it in the documentary.
No, of course.
I think what this mostly is, like you said, like Duffer said, we know everything. We have it all plotted out. I think they just made some decisions about, we don't like the way she says this here. We don't like the way he says this here, but all the scenes were the same. So that's why I think it's being blown out of proportion a little bit here.
Well, it's not like like you said, but I still think it's always better to have finished material. It's better for everybody. It's better for your production.
Sure. I agree. But again, like even Marvel in the first 3 phases, they infamously quite often, as they're shooting the movie, they would get different ideas and they'd bring in a couple of writers who would literally be sitting on set writing new pages.
Yeah, 100%.
As the movies. And my impression of all this is I think that's what happened here. I think they were shooting the series, and as they were getting into the final episode, they were just right, you know what? The way this has turned out, I think she needs to act a little bit different. I think this needs to be said different. And they went back because again, the confusing part is they had the full script read through.
Yeah.
And then they were probably making changes on the go, but it is what it is. And I agree. It wasn't a great series finale.
No.
I think there were moments that were glorious, like the final role-playing game thing at the end. Perfect ending. But then again, I've seen lots of really good television series have very well planned out, very scripted, and very bad finales.
Yeah.
And Stranger Things didn't nail the ending, but they got there. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What did you think about this? Whatever your thoughts are, jump down to the comments below and leave your thoughts there. All right. With that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? 28 years later, got a lot of excitement when they first announced it. And correct me if I'm wrong, Jonathan, maybe you can look it up. I don't think a lot of people went to go see it.
28 years?
28 years later. And while I thought Ralph Fiennes' performance was incredible.
Worldwide 151.
Yeah, not great. I mean, compared to its budget, not terrible, but it's not like a ton of people went to go see it. Especially compared to the initial excitement when it was announced. I thought the opening of the film was pretty good. I thought the first act was pretty solid. It kind of meandered and didn't really go anywhere after that for me, other than, again, Ralph Fiennes' performance. I didn't love the film and I wanted to. Well, before that movie came out, they already started on making the sequel. The sequel, 28 years later, The Bone Temple, which they gave us our first preview of all the way back at CinemaCon back in April. And this one was being directed by Marvel's director, Nia DaCosta, which got some people worried. I like Marvel. I think Marvel's gets too much negativity. I don't think it's one of Marvel's best films at all, but I think it's one of their middling films.
She has horror cred, though, because she did the Candyman.
Yeah, she did Candyman, all that kind of stuff. So they announced that Nia DaCosta was going to be directing 28 years later Bone Temple, and that got some people worried. And I'll be honest with you, I haven't been all that interested in it because I didn't really love the first one. But holy crap, the reviews are now out for 28 years later, The Bone Temple. And they're wildly off the charts. As of this live stream, it's got a 95%. 95%. And the reviews are pretty much gushing. Simply Cinema wrote about it. The Bone Temple more than rises to the occasion of meeting its predecessor. It stretches beyond without fear of distorting into grotesque. It relishes in violence and gore, indulges in the bizarre, and frankly, humorous. Punch Drunk Critics wrote, 28 years later, The Bone Temple is a phenomenal sequel and different enough from the prior film that those who didn't like it, like me, may find themselves enjoying this one more. Splice Today writes, if you mainly sat down to see some gory special effects and completely over-the-top Ralph Fiennes, that sounds good to me. The movie delivers. Looper loved it, saying, it's visually stunning, often genuinely frightening, and wonderfully weird while never letting go of the heart that planted 28 years later so deep in our imaginations. South China Morning Post wrote, DaCosta's morally complex thriller sets us up for a grandstand finish. Synapse wrote, DaCosta delivers a gnarly, ultra-violent sequel packed with scares and substance, cementing her status as one of horror's most vital voices working today. Entertainment Picks writes, scratch your head banging zombies itch with a big screen toast from a goblet of plague-fested freak show grog in yet another tale of unhinged terror set in gritty brick-centric future that's a million miles away from Downton Abbey. The Jam Report, I like this one, writes, it's a film of ferocious intensity and unexpected tenderness, one that understands that chaos and grace are not opposites, but uneasy companions. And it goes on and on. Like, people just seem to be, the full reviews of this one just seem to be raving in kind of a way that they just didn't for 28 years later. And it frankly, and maybe a bit surprisingly, sounds like DaCosta absolutely crushed this one. Because when we were at CinemaCon, we were surprised to find out that Nia DaCosta was the director of it. And she came out on stage
She did.
and talked about it. And I remember going on about, hey guys, I got to work with a shirtless Ralph Fiennes for 3 months. So my life's pretty good. She was talking about that. And my God, I don't know how old Ralph Fiennes is, but they brought up some images from him in the movie. That dude got himself ripped. And I don't even know how old the guy is, but at any rate. So, Rob, all these reviews have got me going, I think
He's
I'm making...
63.
He's 63. I was not planning, I'll be honest with you, I was not planning on going to see 28 Years Later Bone Temple. I think I am now. Anyway, you're hearing these reviews. What's your takeaway from it?
Well, I did like 20. I'm a big fan of Alex Garland's writing. I think he's and he wrote this as well. And Nia DaCosta, I was not a huge fan of Candyman, but I've been listening to her speak, and she's an incredibly articulate, intelligent woman. And just by listening to her talk, I'm like, nah, you have me interested. and the combination of her and Alex Garland, I'm like. And then reading these notices and knowing a little bit of what the movie's about, I'm in. Like, I'm totally in. Like, I think we need this kind of, I love seeing that we're getting horror that I like, where it has really interesting thematic content and at the same time delivering the goods, which is something that we either get one or the other usually, but I like horror for adults, and that's what this is. And I can't wait to see it. I cannot wait to see it. And guess what? It opens tomorrow.
Somebody in the live chat just suggested Ralph Fiennes saying he's in Magneto shape. Just putting that out into the universe. Mm-hmm. I like it. I like that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about the reviews we're now getting for 28 Years Later Bone Temple? I wasn't a big fan of the last one, to be honest with you, but this sounds really appealing. I'm probably going to have to go give this one a shot. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comments section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. It's so funny seeing people late to the show, somebody writing in as if they're breaking news. Just confirmed Ryan Hurst is Kratos in the live action series. Yeah, go back about an hour in our show. Go back about an hour. Anyway, with that down, guys, let's move on to this, shall we? Between teaser trailers, countdown clocks, chair watch, we're almost a year out from Avengers Doomsday, and yet it somehow finds a way to keep itself at the center of the conversation. Now, granted, it's probably going to be the biggest movie we've had in years. Marvel has so much riding on this film. It's crazy. I don't think it's a big exaggeration to say it's kind of a make or break film for Marvel in many ways. But how big can this movie be has been a topic of conversation and some disagreement. There are people out there who think this could be on the level box office wise with movies like Avengers Infinity War and maybe even Avengers Endgame. Then you get more level-headed, intelligent people like me, hashtag sarcasm, who fully stands by the notions like, look, here's hoping the movie's amazing. It's going to do well, but do not expect a $2 billion film. I stand by that. I do not believe this is going to be a $2 billion film for a couple of very big reasons. Number one, unlike every other Avengers film, this film does not have momentum going into it. Sorry, it just doesn't. It does not have the momentum going into it that movies like Infinity War had going into it, that movies like Endgame had going, hell, even movies like Age of Ultron had going into it. Those ones had like movie after movie after quality movie after quality movie after quality movie with high fan anticipation, everything leading into it. Doomsday doesn't have that. It just doesn't. I mean, that's not debatable. That's just a fact. It doesn't. And the second thing is that the fact that overall interest in the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not low, but that is lower than it has been in years past. And then thirdly, there are simply fewer people going to the movies today. And hopefully 2026 will start to turn that around. But there are fewer people going to the movies today than there were in years past. So I think Avengers Doomsday can be very big. I think it can be a huge hit. I think it can be a great runway leading into Secret Wars. And then who knows what that movie can do. But to say it's going to be a $2 billion film, I think is fiction. Fiction. Unrealistic fiction. But there are those who disagree with me. Outlets like these making predictions about 1.8, 1.9, maybe $2 billion, all these sorts of things. So an interesting thing happened to me yesterday. Through another friend of mine, I met a dude who works at one of these analytics agencies that will often track future performance. That includes long-range box office predictions. And we came around to the discussion of Avengers Doomsday. And I kind of gave him my pitch, said, I'm thinking 1.5 billion, 1.4, if it's really good, And he said, we believe it's going to be a $2 billion film. And I'm like, why? And I laid out those three things I just said, right? No momentum, overall enthusiasm for the universe isn't as high as it used to be, fewer people going. He says, that's all important information. It's almost like he patted me on the head. Like, what an adorable little boy you are. He said, that's all really good information. He said, but when we do our standard tracking of things like media mentions, social media engagement, and awareness, he said, forget the fact that it's an MCU film. Just the pure numbers we're seeing on media coverage, social media engagement, and overall awareness, nearly a year out, because we know we have projections, we have algorithms, we know these things will rise on a curve as we get closer and closer. He goes, even removing the fact that this is an MCU film, our numbers tell us that this is going to be a $2 billion film. He said, no, a lot can happen in a year that might spike our estimates or maybe lower them. But he just says, as of right now, we're looking at numbers that a year out are almost unprecedented, he said. And now look, I don't agree. But I like bringing information, even if it contradicts what my personal perspective is or what my predictions are. And so I thought this is really interesting stuff. I'm going to bring it to the show tomorrow. And I thought I'd throw that out here. So Rob, we've got people like me who are saying, hey, Doomsday is going to be awesome. I cannot wait. And it's going to be really big, but slow your roll on the $2 billion talk. But then you got some people like guys I'm meeting who really know what they're talking about.
Me, I'm one of them.
And Rob being one of them, who are saying, actually, we're looking at data that is suggesting this will indeed be a $2 billion film. We've got a long way to go between now and December. We got a long journey ahead of us. But Rob, where are you right now? And what do you think about the information and the stuff that I'm being told by this guy and what some other outlets are predicting? Where do you see this thing coming in?
Well, first of all, the analytics and everything he brought up is a really salient point that I don't think anybody should forget. And Marvel knows this. And even the Russo brothers, by the way, did you see yesterday that they now have a 24-hour, 7 days a week?
Yeah, the countdown.
Doomsday
We talked about
countdown
it on the
clock?
show
You talked about
yesterday. Yeah.
Okay, I'm the idiot.
And by the way, when we were doing the show and talking about that, there were 3,000 people in the live stream watching a ticking clock.
You thought Share Watch was...
You thought the Share Watch was long.
You want to sit around
beer.
and wait
Okay,
11 months. You don't leave YouTube.
okay, guilty as charged. I must have watched that. I just had it on ticking. I was doing something else. Listen to that ticking for 90 minutes. I swear to Christ, I was doing that. I'm like, but here's the thing from my perspective. I can only go by, I sort of have, let's call it a holistic understanding of what this movie is going to be. If you were to ask me, if you were to come up to me and you were to say, Rob, what would you want this? Or here's what this movie, everything I know about this movie, every single choice that I know about is shoving mountains of cocaine into my imagination. It is literally the most enticing, delicious version of whatever this is going to be that I could possibly imagine. Does that mean they're going to F it up? I don't think so. I just know that I remember when, in the mid-'80s, when Crisis on Infinite Earths was coming out. And I was a huge George Perez and Marv Wolfman Teen Titans fan. I was totally all about Marv Wolfman and George Perez. And then they gave Marv Wolfman and George Perez the most gigantic miniseries in the history of DC, where what was the job of that miniseries? They were going to take the DC multiverse and destroy it and put it into one universe. And I'm like, this is going to be the most gigantic thing. One of the hottest girls I ever dated, John, when Crisis on Infinite Earths issue number 7 came out, I went to the comic book store before I went to her house. And I got to her house and I said, Kelly, I need a half an hour. I need to go into your bedroom and I just need to read this comic.
That's not how those sentences usually end, but that's cool.
I know. But this is how excited I was. And this is for a comic book back in 1985 and 86. I can tell you right now that I feel the same way about this movie as I felt about the Crisis on Infinite Earths series.
In Katie's bedroom.
Before it came out. That was issue 7. I was so invested. And remember, it was a 12-issue miniseries. Issue 7 was the issue where Supergirl died. And I was like, Superman's holding her on the cover. And I'm like, we couldn't even go out. I was so wired and jacked. I'm like, I can't miss this. Kelly, I gotta go read this. I can't, if I don't, I'm gonna be thinking about what happened to Supergirl all night long.
And this was an adult.
Yeah, this was.
Well, I was in college.
But you weren't in junior high.
No, I wasn't in junior high. We were in college. It was like 19. It was 80. It was 85. I feel the same way about this movie as I do about Crisis on Infinite Earths in 85. I am vibrating with breathless anticipation because I know what we're gonna get. And I know it's going to make $2 billion plus. I want to go bet right now. Isn't there one of those sites, those pop culture sites? I have one link on my phone.
Polymarket or something.
Whatever it is. I'm betting. I'm going all in. Now, I'm already seeing all this. I get it. Look, I've hated or disliked. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe up through Endgame or Far From Home. You know I do. I love it. I've been very disappointed, but I just don't care. I feel the way that I feel about the Marvel Universe that I feel about James Bond movies. About half of them are good. And I love James Bond movies. I'll go to this.
The recent Marvel movies, about half of them have been good. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I'm talking about, but Bond movies.
Yeah.
But this, I got to tell you, dude, this movie, I want to buy a 70 millimeter print of it. I want to chop up the 70 millimeter print and snort it. Just to have it in myself. I want it to be a part of me. It's going to be that good. I'm telling you, it's going to be that good.
Silence of the Lambs
So,
there.
Here's the thing. So, like,
And don't believe me.
Somebody was asking me, they said, well, if an analyst is telling you they think it's going to be $2 billion, why would you disagree? Well, because I've had disagreements with analysts before and been right. And we've seen sometimes analysts are wrong. I think but let me give you the biggest argument, the biggest data point that contradicts my position that I don't think it's going to hit 2 billion regardless of how good it is. Now, again, Secret Wars, totally different issue. Here's the biggest argument against me. When we were going into Deadpool and Wolverine, remember, there were a lot of people who were saying that's not going to make $1 billion.
That's right. It's true.
And my constant reply to people was, time out. We've seen that Deadpool 1 and Deadpool 2 both make between $700 and $800 million. And you don't think, this would always be my argument, you don't think that adding Hugh Jackman which had been how do you say it? Had been the Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman thing online had been the biggest thing online in years. They joked about it a lot in the original 2 Deadpool movies. And you don't think having Hugh Jackman coming out of retirement as Wolverine to come into this movie as Wolverine, number 2, you don't think now that Deadpool is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which is something that the fans always wanted to have and all that kind of stuff, and you don't think that Deadpool right now is probably even more popular than it was than when the first 2 movies came out, I would say you don't think all those things combined can make up the remaining just $200 million? The other Deadpool movies without all those things made close to 8. You don't think all those other things can get you just 2 more? Of course, all those things can get you just extra 2 more. So that's why I always said Deadpool and Wolverine will be $1 billion film. It exceeded that, made 1.3. I think that same argument can be made against me right now. Whereas I'm saying I don't really see it being a $2 billion film. I think you could rightfully come to me and make a solid argument that, hey, John, Deadpool and Wolverine made $1.3 billion. You don't think another Marvel movie called Avengers with Robert Downey Jr. returning, with Chris Evans returning, with the Russo brothers returning, with one of the most popular, if not the most popular comic villain of all time in Doctor Doom returning. You don't think that can make up the extra $700 million between the $1.3 billion that Deadpool and Wolverine made and the $2 billion mark for Doomsday? And I would have to say that would be a very valid argument. I think that's one of the strongest arguments against my position that I don't think it's going to make 2. I don't know, Rob. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a very salient argument as well. Using the word salient.
Oh, and times. The X-Men, and adding the X-Men into it, by the way.
Yeah. And I will say this: what's really interesting is people have pointed out, and even the Russo brothers said, and I saw interesting. Colton, our friend, was doing an analysis of the different meanings and things that were going on in the trailers, and talking about like the Steve Rogers trailer represented hope or whatever, and the Chris the Hemsworth trailer, Thor represented, you're praying, and then the X-Men trailer is how you face death, and then Shuri talks about it's up to a king to prepare their people for the afterlife. And I'm like, if you look at these messages, like, oh, we have new life. It's all about a life. You go from being born to praying to the end of your life to the afterlife. What they basically told you in these 4 things, if you look at it that way, is that you meaning the viewers, you fans, you're in for something that is going to take you into your entire life is going to flash before your eyes, and then you're going to go into the afterlife and be prepared. I mean, I think what they're knowing, I mean, I think when the first trailer for this drops, if it's a 2-minute trailer, we've already got,
which I still think is going to be at the Super Bowl.
Right. They've already got the backstory. So all they need to do is give you a real trailer. They've already given you these snippets, so they don't even have to deal with that thing. I think when people see the first trailer for this, they're going to lose their effing minds.
Especially and listen, let's revisit this particular conversation after the first real trailer drops, because it could change momentum. By the way, I mentioned this once before, I'll say it again. I'm making up all these things that will add on to the box office from Deadpool and Wolverine. I've said this before. There's about 12, 13, 14 different elements, things, characters, story points that over the past year or 2, I have said, as a fan speculating, there's no way that is going to be in Doomsday. Whether it's a plot point, a thing, a MacGuffin, a character, whatever. I was right about several of those. Many of them, most of them, I was right about. There are a couple I was very wrong about. And I think when people recognize the things I was wrong about being in there, I think that could boost it a bit too.
And I also think that if you think about where the Marvel first of all, they have said, and everyone's been pointing out, that this is a sequel to Endgame. They've made this a sequel to Endgame because they're, the last scene of Endgame was seeing Steve Rogers happily with Captain Carter in the past having his dance, and we know from earlier in the movie Endgame that he comes back as an old man. So you led the life that you wanted to live. Well, why don't you tell me about it? No, I don't think I will. Well, now we're going to see that, whatever that means in all of its, and I can just say, I don't think people are ready. I think this movie's going to take everything that I think this is only going to plus the entire Marvel Cinematic Universe.
You know what I think of when I think about everything that's going to go into this movie? I think about that iconic Patton Oswalt speech on Parks and Rec. About then the Mandalorian Leaf glove comes out. I can just kind of see all that happening. Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The whole debate's going around right now, just how big will this movie be? I mean, we're going to have plenty of discussion about how good we think the movie will be or not. But how big do you think it would be? I still, with all those things I laid out, lack of momentum, MCU's in a different place right now than it was, fewer people going to movies, I don't think it's going to be a $2 billion film. There are a bunch of people out there who agree with me, but there's a bunch of people with some very solid arguments that disagree with me and think it will maybe even exceed that. However you guys feel about it, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, it's time for us to move on to the most important part of our show, which is, of course, taking your live comments and questions. But before we do, we got to do two things. First is bid good afternoon to writer, director, producer Robert Meyer Burnett. Great job as always, my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Yes.
And of course, we're going to take a moment here and thank the sponsor of today's episode, our friends at BetterHelp. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, BetterHelp. You know, the new year doesn't require a new you, maybe just a less burdened you. Most of us carry around things like pressure, self-doubt, or that feeling that we always have to be perfect, and learning to let some of that go can make a huge difference in our lives. Therapy can help you better understand what's weighing you down by giving you an unbiased perspective on your relationships, motivations, and emotions. That's where BetterHelp comes in. See, BetterHelp connects you with quality therapists who are fully licensed in the US and follow a strict professional code of conduct. They also do the matching work for you. You fill out a short questionnaire, and with over 12 years of experience and industry-leading match rates, they usually get it right the first time. And if you ever want to switch therapists, you can do that easily from their tailored recommendations. BetterHelp is also one of the world's largest online therapy platforms, plus an average 4.9 out of 5 rating from over 1.7 million live session reviews. BetterHelp makes it easy to match online with a qualified therapist. Sign up and get 10% off at betterhelp.com/Campea. That's BetterHelp.com/Campea. And thank you to our friends at BetterHelp for sponsoring today's episode of the John Campea Show. All right, guys, with that down, let's get over to your questions. We're going to start off by picking up with some of the last few questions from yesterday's show that we didn't have time to get around to. So, Jonathan, what we got up first?
Guzman, so who are you romancing on Dispatch?
I am romancing Blonde Blazer. Now, I know Visagirl is kind of like the more bad girl, the one a lot of guys go. I was always the type of guy that I loved. What I found attractive in women was girls who had their shit together. I found that really was one of the reasons why I was really attracted to Anne initially. It's like this, because true story, when I first moved to LA, like my goal, of course, I was just like a freaking horned up Canadian kid moving to Los Angeles, right? I went on a lot of dates and I got into a lot of little flings with like actresses and stuff like that. But when I met Anne, it's like this girl who's got like all of her shit together. She's super intelligent. She's got plans. She's a planner. She's got plans and direction. And I just find that really attractive. So when I look at Invisigirl versus Blonde Blazer, I'm lean more to Blonde Blazer. So I'm currently romancing Blonde Blazer.
There we go.
All right, what's next?
Then we got Harv's K regarding Monarch's risk of delivering diminishing returns. At least Anna Sawai will deliver consistent tingly tingle.
Oh my God, Anna Sawai. Look, if we all still get to have celebrity crushes, and if, you know, in today's world, we issue hall passes, that would be mine. Anna Sawai would be my hall. I think Anne's new hall pass is John Bernthal. I think, yeah, she told me the other day she has shifted her hall pass.
What? Who was it before?
I
I remember we talked about it, but
For a while, it was Justin Timberlake.
yeah, but this was someone else. It was an
And
actor.
then for a while,
Well, yeah, no, he acts, but
might have been Joe Jonas, might have been the one after that. But now her new hall pass is John Bernthal. I think mine would be Anna Sawai.
there you
Anyway,
go.
all right, what's next?
Is it Cole? Yes, Colby. James Gunn has said that we've already met the Iron Man, quote unquote, of the DCU, referring to most important of the gods and monsters chapter, but also hinted that it's not Superman. Any thoughts? F Paramount.
Yeah,
Well, wouldn't it be Mr. Fantastic, or whatever his name is?
Mr. Terrific?
Terrific is the Iron Man.
I don't see, like, first of all, I love that character and the way he's done in Superman, and I can't wait to see more, but I don't see him as the Iron Man figure of it. I thought until I saw Peacemaker season 2.
Oh, I took it too literal. I thought they meant like genius, like in a
Right.
Yeah, I know what you mean now.
Until I saw Peacemaker season 2, I thought maybe Rick Flag Sr. That made sense to me, but
Okay, he's kind of like the Wong.
but then the way Peacemaker season 2 ended, I'm not so sure. So I'm not really sure. I'm gonna have to think about that. It's a good question though.
Yeah,
All right, what's
I
next?
still think it's that could be Clayface because he sure acted differently.
Yes, I will remember. I'm the one who brought that up. I said, you know,
Right.
I wonder if at some point in Peacemaker got replaced by Clayface.
he was actually villainous.
But I don't know. We'll find out how
Yeah.
they examine it. All right,
Gary,
what's next?
bring on the filthy tingly tinglies.
Yep,
Okay.
I got a lot of emails yesterday about tinglies. All right, what's
we
next?
got Lone Wolf. The first episode of season 8 of The Rookie was so good. Are you planning on watching this season when you get the chance?
Yeah, the Rookie is one of those shows I really do keep up on. I must admit, I have lost some interest in the show as the show has moved progressively further and further away from Nathan Fillion's character. Like the first bunch of seasons, it was like we had all these great characters in the show, but Nathan Fillion's character was truly the centerpiece. The show revolved around him. Now he's just like another character in the show. And as attention's been drawn away from his character, I find I've lost some of my interest. But I'm still watching, and I will keep watching the new season. All right, what's next?
X-Men Superfan says, hey, long time no see. My question is, what do you believe Betty Davis brought to her films that make her so memorable? I mean, besides her eyes and her physicality,
Well, yeah, but
her intense, I mean, you felt intimidated by her.
yeah, and to that point, there are certain actors that emit, not all of them do, even some really great ones don't do this. There are certain actors that the best way I know how to describe it is emit a presence about them.
It was
right?
like she was classically trained.
George C. Scott
Oh,
was one of
man.
those guys. James Earl Jones was one of those guys. I think George Clooney is one of those guys. She was one of those performers that like every moment she was on screen, she like emitted a very unique fingerprint-like presence about her. And that made her instantly forever memorable.
I throw James Cagney in there too.
Yeah, Cagney. All right, what's next?
William Duan was a two-parter. Just finished Iceman WOW with a friend and honestly had a good time. The narrative format was genuinely creative and kind of well executed. When it failed often, it failed hilariously. If they polished up the acting, dialogue, plot, the world building, there is a world where this is actually a good movie. So, what other irredeemable movie do you have on your recommendation list?
I have no idea what he's talking about.
Yeah, I've never heard of that.
I have no idea what Iceman WoW is. That being said, what does it end off with?
Do you have any irredeemable movies that you'd have on your recommendation list?
Okay, you know what? This is a little off from what you're asking, but it's kind of embracing the spirit of it, I think. Do you remember the first the Kate Beckinsale vampire movie?
Oh yeah,
Where the vampires fight-
Underworld.
Underworld, right? The first Underworld, which is a very memorable movie, but I don't think all that great of a movie, but all the pieces are there. Like I remember, like for the longest time, I just think that's a movie that's not actually all that good, but all the building blocks are there. The mythology, perfect.
Yeah.
You got Kate Beckinsale, great. The whole werewolf versus vampire dynamic, great. And I think if it was just done a little bit differently in a slightly different way, I think you can make something really good out of it. So that's kind of one to me. All right, what's next?
X-Men asks if you had to choose between a decent comedy film and a great tragedy with a love story, which that would have to be the mood I'm in at the time.
That's exactly what I was going to say. It totally depends on the day.
Yeah.
There are going to be some days I'm going to be in a certain type of mood, like watching something great and dramatic and whatever would be great. And there's just days that I really feel like I just want to watch something that makes me laugh. So that's the thing about movies. It all really depends on the mood you're in.
Yeah.
All right, what's
We
next?
got Will, who says, could you see them putting the Doomsday Clock in a few theater lobbies so people think about it all year? That would be interesting. Maybe
Yeah.
like a standee that has like a video graphic element to it.
You know what? Yeah, I think you're right. I think they could. Now, I think they'd have to pay for that.
Yeah.
Because that's valuable screen real estate for a movie theater to let its patrons know what's coming. But to run it all year is a hard thing to do, but it's not a bad idea.
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
We got Blurred Elation. Based off the info you and the Viceroy of verisimilitude know plot-wise, does Dr. Doom indeed say the iconic phrase, "It's Doomin' time"?
I can tell you the movie actually starts with that.
Yeah.
The Marvel, like a dun 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 with the red pages flipping and the Marvel logo coming out. And then as soon as it stops, the screen goes dark and it's just Dr. Doom going, "It's Doomin' time."
That's right.
And then the movie starts.
And then the song Wipeout plays.
And then he does it again at the end. It's crazy. I was like, how did you know? All right, what's next?
Dean Talks Movies just gives some support. Thank you.
Thank you so much, man.
X-Men Superfan says, what would you prefer in the DCU, a Catwoman solo film or a Gotham City Sirens film? Didn't we already get a Gotham City Sirens? Sort of.
I think they did like a series. Wasn't there like a CW series or something like
I think
that?
that's what it was.
And they kind of were approaching that with Harley Quinn, the Fabulous, or the Birds of Prey a little bit, at least overtones of it, not the actual thing. I think a Catwoman movie.
Yeah.
I think that would be...
Especially in the DCU.
Yeah, ask me 5 years into the DCU about maybe doing the other, but I would say Catwoman movie.
Because she's interesting in like the Arkham games.
Yeah.
So...
All right, what's
Future
next?
Millionaire. Bigger surprise, John Harbaugh being let go or Mike Tomlin stepping down?
I expect, if you guys watch my show, I expected Mike Tomlin would step down. The timing was just right. I mean, he's about to lose his quarterback again. Some of the players he's had with him the longest are getting kind of long in the tooth, and they're going to be retiring soon. And he's been there 19 years. And I remember I said on the show the other day, I am not going to be surprised that he just decides it's time for him to move on to something new. The John Harbaugh thing shocked me. Like letting John Harbaugh go? Are you insane? But, and now he's like the number one coach. Everybody, now every NFL team is lining up and kissing his ass to try to hire him. But so I wasn't surprised Mike Tomlin decided to leave. I don't think we'll ever have another NFL coach that coached that long. Do you know that he has never had a losing season? Never once did he have a losing season in 19 seasons with the Pittsburgh Steelers. That's crazy. But yeah, so I wasn't shocked about that. I was kind of expecting that he might decide to move on, but John Harbaugh getting fired was crazy. All right, what's next?
X-Men says, would you like to have a Trinity film before Justice League? I just don't think that's necessary.
No, because what's the difference?
Yeah.
A Trinity film is
Three more-
basically a Justice League
Three
film
more
anyway.
people you're adding in. And also, if rumors are right, you may see Wonder Woman in Man of Tomorrow, so you're almost there. And
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
we might get there.
yeah.
All right, what's next?
Hunter, if you had to pitch a film from any franchise, no matter how unrealistic, with the only goal being to be the highest grossing film ever, what is it? If you had to pitch a film with any franchise.
I mean, a lot of people ask something like this, they would put, have Star Wars crossover with Marvel. It's like, and like all these things, it's like, I actually don't think a lot of people would go to see that.
It would, yeah. I'd pitch Avatar. Boom.
It would be a Star Wars movie for me. Now, I don't know what the pitch is yet, but for me, it would be a Star Wars film. Done in a way that I would think would work, but who knows?
We open on Rey. Ahsoka approaches. Mr. I says, if you want a Star Wars movie, make $2 billion, have James Cameron direct it. Well, I mean, I don't,
I mean, let's not forget, James Cameron has made films that have not joined the $1 billion club before. But I'm not going to lie. I'd go see a Star Wars movie directed by James Cameron.
Oh, I'd love it. Yeah.
All right, what's
Kyle
next?
gives support. Super sticker there.
Thank you, Kyle.
Nerdy Beardman says, if Marvel nails the execution of Doomsday script, will it be minds will be blown awesome only, or does it include give best picture a run awesome? Ooh.
That's a very, very good question.
I think the Academy still doesn't acknowledge it, though.
Well, listen, the Academy
But I mean,
has
if it is, it
nominated
is, right?
several comic book films now in big major categories, including screenplay, acting,
Yeah.
best picture.
Wait, isn't there
but-
going to be an ensemble, or is that not in the Academy? Is that
What do you mean?
best ensemble? Is that not a category yet?
I don't think that's a category
Okay.
yet. I think they're introducing casting.
Oh yeah, never mind.
Here's the thing. I see the movie playing out a certain way in my head.
Mm.
And the way I do, I think this movie is going to be an awesome roller coaster ride. I mean, I think it's just going to be thrilling and awesome and all that kind of stuff. And certainly there have been comic book movies that have been definitive comic book movies, yet also have a lot of the elements that a lot of film professionals look for when considering their best picture of the year. And I don't think Doomsday is going to be that. Now, I could be wrong. I see it just being more of an outrageously over the top, mind-blowing thrill ride for the audience. Now, maybe that will be enough for Academy voters to want to vote for it. It's not some of the traditional elements that some of the others do, even other comic book films. So I don't know. It's a really good question, but I don't see it as a best pick, not because I don't think it's going to deliver that kind of an experience, but I don't see it as a best picture kind of movie. But the way it executes could totally change that. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, what's next?
Apollo says Netflix is part of FANG. These companies are almost worth $1 trillion or worth multi-trillion dollars. So Paramount can be bought, and so can Disney. That's what WB sees. It's a much bigger picture.
WB doesn't care squat about that. And by the way, FANG isn't the right terminology anymore, because that used to be Facebook, Apple, N was Netflix, G was Google. What was the second A? Anyway, but Facebook isn't called Facebook anymore. Now it's called Meta. So anyway, that's a horse of a different color. Warner Brothers doesn't care if they sell to Paramount and then Paramount gets bought by
Oh, it was
somebody.
Amazon.
Oh, Amazon. That's right. Thank you. Warner Brothers doesn't care. Like, listen, once I sell you my used car, I don't give a crap what you do with it. I don't care. I don't care if you never change the oil. I don't care if you, I don't care. Like, once I sell it to you and I get the terms that I want, and you were able to successfully execute and finish off the deal in a way that was beneficial to me, I don't give a crap what you do. I guarantee you right now, nobody at Warner Brothers is wondering, well, what if Paramount gets bought? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. All right, what's next?
Keaton Habeck says, have you seen Is This Thing On? Will Arnett's best performance? I want to.
I have not. And you know what? It's one of those ones that I've had my eye on, and I totally didn't know when the release date was.
Yeah.
And so I have not yet, but it's funny because Ann and I were just at the theater and we walked by a poster of it and we're both like, oh my God, we got to go see that.
Yeah.
And so, no, I haven't. I heard it's fantastic. The new Bradley Cooper directorial offering, his first one, I think, since he did Maestro. So I'm looking forward to seeing it, but I haven't seen it yet. All right. What's next?
Yatu, hot take. Doomsday will become the second movie in history after Endgame to cross the 300 million mark. Its opening weekend. Overreaction?
Overreaction. But I'll tell you what. Ask the question again once we've had the full trailer campaign and when we're about a month out, because maybe I changed my mind, but I don't think so. No, not again. There's nowhere near as much momentum leading into this movie as there was into Infinity War. People aren't feeling as hot on Marvel right now as they were when Infinity War came out. And there's not as many people going to the movies today as there were when Infinity War came out. I think it's going to be big and huge and successful, but I think 300 million is an overreaction. All right, what's next?
Derek, thoughts on Train Dreams? Do you think it's Netflix's best film of 25? The cinematography is gorgeous. William H. Macy was great.
It's got William H. Macy. It's got Uncle Owen.
Oh gosh. And I just watched it.
From Warrior. Anyway, it's got Felicity Jones in it.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched it. I'll be honest with you guys. I don't give much time of day to Netflix movies.
It doesn't feel like one.
There's just not many. Joel Edgerton.
Yeah.
I'm glad you liked it, but I haven't bothered with it.
To
Even
me,
though
it
I
feels
do
like a movie
everybody
that
in it.
was in theaters and now it's on Netflix. It doesn't feel like a Netflix movie.
So you saw it?
Yeah.
What did you think of it?
It's beautiful. It's heartbreaking.
Well, maybe I'll have to check it out.
It's a bit meditative, but it's really good.
Yeah, 99% of Netflix original films suck ass, so I usually don't bother with them. But
doesn't
if
feel
you
like
say
a
it's good,
this is
I'll give it a shot.
It's a slower paced film, but this does not feel like a Netflix movie.
All right, what's next?
Apollo, Brand New Day, 2.3 bill. Doomsday, 3 bill. Wait, Brand New Day. Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, no.
I thought he was saying maybe Doomsday 2.3.
No.
I don't know
Doomsday
about
3
that.
billion? Oh, get out of here.
think-
Okay. This is now getting into the territory when everybody kept calling me insane when I said that the latest Sonic movie would not hit $1 billion. Wouldn't even come anywhere near it. And every day, everybody
even
called me
understand.
insane. I never understood either. Yeah, that saying that Doomsday is going to make $3 billion is getting into that level of silliness.
If it doesn't make 3 billion, though, it's a flop.
But let me say this again. If it knocks it out of the park the way
Yeah.
we suspect it will, all bets are off then for Secret Wars.
Yep.
Like if Doomsday delivers what I think it's going to deliver, then the ceiling on Secret Wars, well, now we're talking $3 billion, but that's a long way to go till we get there. All right, what's next?
Svane says, have you seen the latest teaser for One Piece Season 2? It looks completely ridiculous in the best kind of way. Love that they are embracing how wacky the source material is.
I have not. You know what's funny? Because every day when I make my breakfast, I just put on YouTube and I play some things, and I came across the new trailer for One Piece Season 2, but I clicked by because I was watching a video on finances. I kind of watch videos on finance. Anyway, so I do got to get around to it. I really loved Season 1. I'm actually waiting now for Anne. I've convinced Anne to watch Season 1 now. And so she's going to try to get caught up on Season 1 so we can watch Season 2 together. But I haven't seen the new trailer yet. All right, what's next?
Speaking of finance, and this is not any advice. Have you tracked gold?
Dude, I couple of weeks ago,
Yeah.
I bought a pretty good position into gold.
Good.
And it's been doing pretty good for me.
Yeah.
Again, I'm not giving any financial advice. Well, but I did. I bought into gold, and it's been doing pretty good for me. Yes.
We got Alan who says, did you hear about Amazon deal with a
Probably meant
Blu-ray
Blu-ray.
manufacturer, and what do you think about it?
No, I don't really pay much attention to physical media.
That's
stuff.
one for Rob.
Yeah.
I haven't heard of that. Brandon, Ryan, this is Ryan Gosling's best role. Beyond the Pines, Drive, or Nice Guys? As far as Death, probably Beyond the Pines, but Nice Guys is really great.
The funny thing is, I didn't even like Beyond the Pines all that much. I didn't hate it. Don't get me wrong, but his performance is so good in it.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
I'm gonna say Drive.
See, I love Drive, but he was specifically supposed to be a one-note kind of character, which he nailed.
Yeah, there was something haunting about it for me that I really liked.
But I love the movie.
There was an intensity to it, but again, then there's Nice Guys. Yeah. I mean, he's just truly one of our great actors today. He's fantastic.
He did a movie. I can't remember what it was, but he was going through a divorce. So good. I'll think of it.
I'll always think of Lars and the Real Girl.
That's a great movie.
All right, what's next?
Kyle Ginder. If Wonder Man and Vision Quest aren't very good, do you think Marvel should stop making Disney Plus shows to stop hurting the Marvel brand?
Yes. Now, listen, there have been some Marvel shows that I have loved on Disney Plus. I loved WandaVision. I still think Ms. Marvel, I don't know what the hell some of you guys are smoking. Ms. Marvel is wonderful. That's such a great, delightful series. That's wonderful. And I've been made to become curious about Wonder Man, and obviously I'm curious about Vision Quest, but honestly, I don't think they should be doing Disney Plus shows. I've never thought they should be doing Disney Plus shows. And again, I say that as somebody who thinks WandaVision is absolutely phenomenal, but I just don't think they should be doing them. Focus on the cinematic universe. Keep your focus there. Quit diluting your energy and efforts. Quit diluting and making homework for your audiences. Focus on the films. That's when Marvel was at its most successful.
Mm-hmm.
Go back to it. I don't mind the idea of every once in a while a little special,
I love those.
like a Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special, the upcoming Punisher special.
Yeah.
I don't mind that. But
Werewolf by Night. that
get
was
your
fun.
but get your focus back on movies
Yeah.
and just let the rest go.
Yeah.
All right,
Adam,
what's
Adam
next?
reminded me it was Blue Valentine. If you haven't seen that, it's a great
Oh
ride.
my God, that was Michelle Williams in that with him,
Yes.
right? Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Blue Valentine's so good. It's very also upsetting, but really,
Yes.
really good.
Amin says, you've talked about a lot about how excited you are for Doomsday, but what maybe are some things that you've read or heard that makes you worried?
I'm not going to tell you that. No, there are a couple of things that I went, how's that going to work? There are a couple of those. There are. I obviously cannot tell you what those are, but I don't know that there's ever been a movie that I haven't had at least a couple of those things. Overall, my excitement about this movie since finding out everything that happens in it has skyrocketed. So sure, there's a couple of things in it that I've gone, how is that exactly going to play out or work? But it's just a couple, and we'll talk about those more in depth after the movie comes out. All right, what's next?
Oh, we would need an entire show for this, but Red Boy asks, hey, John, I've always wanted to ask you what it is about Highlander 2 and Lady in the Water specifically that makes you hate them.
They're awful. There's nothing redeeming about them. They are truly terrible. Both felt like they were written by grade school children. But again, we're not going to sit here all day and do a full dissection of it. But yeah, they're two of the worst movies ever made in history.
You know what? Red Boy, watch them back to back and you tell us.
If you still have a will to live after watching them back to back. All right, what's next?
Saint, hey, John, I'm not saying he wins, but if he had any say, Jack O'Connell is definitely getting nominated for Best Supporting Actor for Sinners. One of the best performances I saw in 25.
I don't think he's going to get nominated.
That's a shame, though.
It is a shame.
That's a big category. I mean, it's a lot of...
But remember, see, here's the thing. There are only 5 spots. There's only 5 nominees. And I don't think he's going to get one of them. And that doesn't take anything away from how great he was in it. I think he was fantastic, low key, just absolutely brilliant. Gets overshadowed a little bit, of course, by the performance of Michael B. Jordan and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, he's terrific in it, but I don't see him getting one of the nominations, although I will celebrate if he does, but I don't think he will. All right, what's next?
Jacob the Galba with a $20 super chat.
Oh my God. Thank you, Jacob, for supporting us in that level, man.
Says, John, are there any film urban legends that you believe to be true?
I can't
I'd have to
answer
really
that.
think about
I'd
that.
have to, that's just not something I walk around off the top of my head. I wish you had given me a few examples.
I know. And then we could say whether we thought they were true or not.
Yeah. I mean, there are things we know, like Will Smith was originally supposed to play Neo in The Matrix. Well, that's true. Indiana Jones was originally going to be Magnum PI. Well, that's true. But I don't have any off the top of my head. So it's a great question. It's actually a really good question. I just don't have any of those running around off the top of my head right now.
The ghost child in 3 Men and a Baby was actually just a standee. It was not a ghost.
Right. Yes. Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good example of one like that. All right. What's next?
Mike T54 with a $20 super chat.
Oh, thank you, Mike.
Movies get remade and reimagined many times in Hollywood, some stories more than others. Why, to my knowledge, are some movies like Casablanca, Citizen Kane, and others seemingly ignored by remakes, and is Lord of the Rings untouchable too? No.
I think there's 2 reasons. One is there are circles in Hollywood that consider those films untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
That I don't agree with, but consider them untouchable. The second one is I don't know that those movies play as well today. I don't know that. I've said this before. I don't think Gone with the Wind, if it were coming out today, I don't know that it plays as well today as it did then. I don't think Casablanca plays as well today as it did.
Yeah. Because also those movies were very of their time.
Yeah. Again, not that I'm not taking away how great those movies are, but they are, like all movies, they are products of their time.
Casablanca is in my top 3 movies of all time.
It's just that if that movie came out today, would it have that big of an impact? I don't know that that's true that it would.
Right.
So I think those are again, I'm speculating, but my guess is those two are the reasons.
And especially with Casablanca, because it was that film noir feel, and people don't speak like that anymore.
Yeah.
So then you're
You're
going to
kind
do
of
it
losing the personality of
yeah,
them.
exactly.
Lord of the Rings, they will be remade. At some point, they will be. Lord of the Rings movies are themselves remakes, actually, in a way, because there were the animated movies before. But at some point in the future, somebody will remake the Lord of the Rings.
You know what? Do the Maltese Falcon remake. You could do Ryan Gosling in the lead.
There you go.
You could do a remake of that.
All right. We are almost out of time. How
Yeah,
many more do we have to go?
A lot, because we're not even on today's yet. So,
Are you kidding me?
oh no, wait, never mind. We are on today's yet.
Okay,
So,
let's do
Let me do a
two-
count, and I can answer one, and I can do a count, I guess.
Okay, let me do these next two, and then we'll have to. We're well over 2 hours
Yeah.
already, so let's do these next two, and then we'll just get caught up tomorrow.
Okay. Would you? Okay, so Solitary. Would you prefer to see Toby or Andrew return?
Well, I mean, Andrew's my favorite Spider-Man, so I guess in a vacuum, if it was only going to be one, my guess. I mean, look, I'd be thrilled with either, but if it was only going to be one, my choice would be Andrew. All right, what's next?
Okay, and there's 10 more, so we can get caught up tomorrow with the 10. But after this, there's 10. Raymond says any Denver fan meetups at the Broncos?
No. I already did a Denver meetup. We
Yeah.
did a Denver meetup a few months ago.
Yeah.
And
Plus, you
we
guys
just
need-
don't have the time for it. We
Yeah.
are rolling into town. We're gonna go for dinner. We're gonna go to the game, which is an afternoon game. And as soon as the game is done, we're gonna hit the road and come back. So I want to be back here for Monday's show. So no fan meetups in Denver.
There you go.
And all right, guys, listen, I know we're still behind. We will get caught up. Don't worry. We've got all the super chats that have been sent in. We will get caught up. So we went a little bit long with our versus game. We went like 20 minutes longer than we should have with our versus game. So we will get caught up on all the super chats that have been sent in today on tomorrow's show. So don't worry about it. We've got them. We've got them locked and loaded, ready to go. We'll address them tomorrow. But that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you so much for being here and making our little show part of your day. Big special thank you to all you guys who have sent in questions, number one, because you gave us really fun and interesting things to talk about. And number two, you supported this channel as you did it, and all of us involved with the show. Thank you guys so very much for your support. Don't forget to come on back and join us again tomorrow. So for our good friend Robert Meyer Burnett, our technical producer Jonathan Voico,
We'll always have Paris.
my name's John Campea, guys, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.